This is Douglas Adams, and this is Digital Watches Are a Pretty Neat Idea, and this is 42.
Hi there, and welcome to Digital Watches Are a Pretty Neat Idea. This is Bryan, and I'm with my friend Jeff, and we'll be talking about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy in all its forms. But before we do that, let's listen to a message from one of our proud sponsors.
Hey, this is Jeff. I'm so excited. The Sirius Cybernetics Corporation has sent the Nutramatic drink dispenser to me for me to try. It arrived today. I've already unpacked it. Boy, there were a lot of packing peanuts. And I've set it up and it's ready to use. So, let's try it. Here I go. Pressing the button.
Welcome, I am the Sirius Cybernetics Nutrimatic Drink Dispenser. Please wait while I make a highly detailed examination of your taste buds. I will now perform a spectroscopic analysis of your metabolism. Please be patient while I send tiny experimental signals down your neural pathways to the taste centers of your brain. I am calculating what is likely to go down well. Processing. Dispensing. Share and enjoy.
Okay, here I go. Let's taste it. Ugh, this tastes filthy. Take this cup back.
How dare you throw that cup at me? Go stick your head in a pig.
Hey Brian, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jeff. How are you?
I'm concerned.
You're concerned? What are you concerned about?
I'm concerned that at the beginning of this episode, I used a special introduction that I pieced together of Douglas Adams introducing us. And I'm hoping that I haven't offended anybody and that they know it was done with the love and respect that we both have for this gentleman.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. And here, I thought you were going to tell me you had 43 reasons to be excited today.
I do have 43 reasons because this is our 43rd episode. And to honor our 43rd episode, we're going to talk about 42.
There you go. Of course. That makes perfect sense to me. Perfect sense.
In the spirit of Douglas Adams, we missed our deadline.
Oh, it must have been when I was sitting in the bathtub reading a book. We've been putting this thoughts about 42 off for quite some time, and I think it's about time you and I give it a whirl. What do you think?
So yes, today we're going to talk about 42, the ultimate answer to the ultimate question. And we're not going to so much talk about our feelings about it, but all of the things that we have found looking on the internet in the deep, dark corners to see what other people had to say. And this isn't about 42 in general. This is just about questions and answers in general.
Awesome.
So there's an Austrian philosopher, Ludwig Wittgenstein, and he gets credit for pointing out that many classical philosophical conundrums are unsolvable, not because they are so profound, but because they are incoherent. And that truly relates to this dilemma of 42.
Absolutely. And I know that our audience is brilliant and know everything they need to know about this, but I think it's important to mention that in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the supercomputer Deep Thought is built by a race of hyper-intelligent pan-dimensional beings to determine the answer to life, the universe, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Deep Thought determines that the answer is 42. Deep Thought rather patiently points out that the reason his answer doesn't make any sense is because the original question was vague and the specific question is not known.
Right.
Questions like these seem to be committing a categorical error. Life is not the kind of thing to which the word meaning or answer applies.
Right. The answer 42 sounds like a joke. However, everybody believes that there has to be a darn good reason for that answer.
And Douglas Adams has been quoted as saying it was simply chosen because it was a completely ordinary number. A number not just divisible by 2, but also by 6 and 7. In fact, it's the sort of number that you could, without any fear, introduce to your parents. During one of his Q&A panels, he responded, "I was on my way to work one morning while still writing the scene and was thinking about what the actual answer should be.
Mm-hmm.
I eventually decided that it should be something that made no sense whatsoever. A number, and a mundane one at that."
Oh, all right. In the online discussion group, alt.fans.douglas-adams, he wrote, "It was a joke. It had to be a number, an ordinary, smallish number, and I chose that one. Binary representations, base 13, Tibetan monks are all complete nonsense. I sat at my desk, stared into the garden, and thought, 42 will do. I typed it out. End of story."
Oh my gosh. So John Lloyd was a collaborator of his on other projects, and he said that Adams has called 42 the funniest 2-digit number.
Oh, okay. And if you out there do not believe that 42 is the ultimate answer, just ask any of your favorite search engines what the ultimate answer is and see what they have to say.
Oh my gosh. However, Douglas Adams saying that there's no meaning behind the chosen number is received about as well as when the government says what they found in Roswell, New Mexico was a weather balloon.
Yes, nobody believes it.
Oh.
So what Bryan and I are going to do today is tell you all about all of the things that we have found on the internet and in the books. I'm going to state what we have found, and Bryan is going to put in his 2 cents on the credibility of all of that.
You got it. You got it.
So the best place to start about what the answer and question mean is from the books. So in The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, using random chance, a Scrabble board spells out the question, what do you get when you multiply 6 by 9? So, Bryan, what is your opinion and what do you think about 6 by 9 being multiplied together as the answer or the question?
Well, this could mean that the question is a generic, what is life? And the answer can mean not what you expect.
That would be true. In the quote that I mentioned from the discussion group, he throws base 13 in there.
I think he throws that in there because it's one of his favorite ridiculous responses.
Yes. So basically what that means is that in base 10, 42 is 4 times 10, which is 40, plus 2, 42.
Mm-hmm.
6 times 9 equals 54 in base 10.
Mm-hmm.
54 is 5 times 10, 50, plus 4.
Mm-hmm.
In base 13, 42, the 4 times 13 is 52, plus 2 is 54. So 6 times 9 is 54 in base 13. So, Bryan, was Douglas Adams writing in base 13?
He specifically said that he does not write jokes in base 13. But I have to tell you.
Well, who does?
I know, no one does. No one does. But this reminds me of my conundrum last week, last time we got together, and we were talking about time and we were talking about numbers, and we were talking about 12 compared to 10.
Yes.
Because there's the decimal system and there's the standard of the, I don't know what you call it, imperial system, the standard system,
okay,
of inches and feet, and then
right.
They've got the decimals of centimeters and meters,
right?
And it seems logical that we as human beings would be a society based on tens, because of course we have 10 fingers and 10 toes, so those come naturally to us. But as I explained, the inch was always defined as the distance between the knuckles on one finger originally, until it was standardized, and that human beings were originally counting with their fingers, the 4 joints, so they were counting up to the number 12. So 13, and this is what I said. I remember responding that the 6x9 question that we get out of this part of the book, for me, it kind of represented the possibility of multiple universes.
Okay.
And maybe even multiple universes aren't necessarily what we need to make this answer work, because you could see that if we were a culture that had 13 fingers,
right,
we would have 1 through 9, plus, as you said, we'd have a number representing 10, a number representing 11, a number representing 12, a number representing 13.
But would be a single number, not a two-digit
exactly.
number.
It would be whatever funny word we could come up with to represent those.
And funny shape.
Funny shape, right, that would represent those figures. So there could easily exist within our own universe a place where 13 is the base or the root for that society, or that educational basis for that society with 13 fingers,
right.
or 13 appendages, or whatever they happen to have, that they count with.
Right.
So we get so heavily hooked into the 10 concept that it's almost inextricable from everything we think and everything we do.
Right. But the question that brings up in my mind is that if an inch is represented by each segment of your finger, and there are 12 segments of fingers, why is it called a foot and not a hand?
because the inch was done with the finger and the foot was done with the foot.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you think about it, you wouldn't have measured a piece of carpentry like a table or a bench or bookshelf or anything like that using your foot. That would be a measurement that you would probably use to describe a piece of land or a larger section. So
right.
The inch became a standard in your workshop because you would put your finger down there and you'd measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be how many inches wide something was.
Right.
And then if you were outside, you'd measure toe to heel, toe to heel, toe to heel with a foot. It's only after they become a standard, when somebody measured the king's foot and said, this is what a standard foot is, and then they divided it by 12 to get the inches, that it became a standard measurement.
Okay.
We went far afield, but then again, so did he.
Yeah. Of course, from the original book, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, we have the question, how many roads must a man walk down? How does that fit into this in your mind?
Oh, my gosh. If there was ever a real question and answer where 42 made sense, this to me is one of the perfect pairings.
Yes, I will agree.
It has what a lot of these don't have, and that's what we're going to talk about as we go on with it. It's got a functional meaning. Silly as it is, that at the end of 42 roads, you would have some understanding of life, the universe, and everything.
Yes, we just don't know exactly what the road is or what the roads represent.
Or for that matter, how long, right?
Exactly.
Oh, gosh.
Well, if you have listened to an earlier episode, you will know that Bryan and I have different opinions about this part. I believe the multi-part question is in the book.
Mm-hmm.
It is Fenchurch's revelation, and it can be stated this way.
Mm-hmm.
What is it in the universe that has been going wrong all this time, and how can the world be made a good and happy place without anyone having to get nailed to anything? That is the question. I don't know what 42 means or how it fits in there.
Right.
But maybe one of the things we talk about later will fill in that blank.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, as you say, when we've had this discussion about Fenchurch's revelation and whether or not it's a representation of her knowing the question, and what we've discussed basically is that her knowing how to make the universe a better place and how to get the results that are needed to improve things, from my opinion, is not a question. That's simply the result of having all of that knowledge. In other words, if she had the knowledge of the question and the answer in her mind, she could then piece together the result, which is how to live a peaceful and joyous life.
Right. And I guess my response to that in my mind is always, if all of a sudden you know the answer and this, well, that's the question.
Hey, now you're taking us down the road. I love this road. Because you and I have talked about this, and this is such a great thing. I mean, we both love it. I mean, when Fenchurch says that, and her brother repeats, what, this platypus, that whatever.
Right. This. Yeah, she goes, this. Yeah.
We've stated, and I think we're still flirting with the idea of using it for a concept for a story,
Yes.
hopefully assisted by all our fans out there. That's what
crowdsourced fan fiction.
Yes.
That's what the world needs. Another one of those.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's keep going around the internet, which, by the way, is my understanding of what the ultimate random universe is all about.
Yes. Well, my favorite explanation of 42 being the ultimate answer to the ultimate question stems from Deep Thought being a supercomputer.
Mm-hmm.
And he is communicating with these organic beings who were far, far below his intelligence level.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got to answer them as simply as he can so they'll understand him.
Right.
And the most basic computer language that he knew was ASCII, the computer language capital ASCII.
Mm-hmm.
In ASCII, the numerical representation of an asterisk is 42.
Mm-hmm.
An asterisk is commonly referred to as a wildcard and used to represent whatever you want it to be. So, when Deep Thought said the answer is 42, he was really saying life is anything you want it to be.
I know. Isn't that perfect?
Do you think that's what Douglas Adams had in his mind when he wrote 42?
Oh, yeah. See, it's the most logically, conveniently squared up response that can be out there for this.
Most certainly is.
Because Adams was a computer programmer. He at least knew computer programming. So
Right.
he had the potential of knowing that was within the programming language. So it seems to be a response that I firmly believe in, but obviously he's denied. So it's the one that makes the most sense to me, because it really is an answer to a question.
Yes. However, that is an explanation of what the answer means,
Mm-hmm.
but it really doesn't say what the question is.
That's
What
true.
is life?
Right.
That would break the question down to basically a simple, what is life?
That's true. And they don't really ask what is life. They say the question is, life, universe, and everything. So that's the way they define it. They don't say, what is life, the universe, and everything? They say they want the ultimate answer to life, the universe, and everything. So they don't specifically say, what is life? What is the universe? What is everything?
If the answer 42 was in ASCII, the asterisk, an asterisk to a computer is also used to designate multiplication.
That's correct.
So the ultimate answer can be interpreted as multiplying, or, as stated in a different book, be fruitful and multiply, or, in its most basic sense, having sex. So is the ultimate answer to life, the universe, and everything having sex?
In its crudest form, the answer to that is yes. Because just like banging the rocks together, guys.
And was banging an intentional pun?
No pun. No pun.
Banging the rocks. Okay.
That's wordplay. It's not a pun.
Okay, it's wordplay.
You're never going to have, at least with our limited ability to live beyond, 100 years, without multiplying, without being fruitful, as you say, our existence becomes a very short comma in a very long curve of the universe.
Yes, it would. Keeping with computers, I found one entry somewhere that put it very simply. They asked a computer a non-specific, actually meaningless question. So, in the computer world, there's the acronym GIGO, G-I-G-O, which stands for garbage in, garbage out. So if you give a garbage question, you're going to get a garbage answer, and it doesn't mean anything. Is that what happened?
Yes. And having spent most of my life in customer service-related industries, I have another favorite one. The other one that I thought was very funny is referring to it as a picnic problem.
Okay.
The problem is the person in the chair, not in the computer.
Right.
A picnic problem.
Yes. I also found multiple places that the binary representation that he was talking about in the online discussion group refers to this. 42 is 101010 in binary code. What does that have to do with anything?
I don't know, it's just a bunch of ones and zeros, if you ask me.
So people love to point that out like it is like a revelation to what the question or answer actually mean, but I don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't know where they're going with that. I agree with you. It's just a coincidence.
And I think more of these are just coincidences. So, the next one, in that discussion group, he talked about the Tibetan monks.
Right.
Because ancient Tibet had 42 rulers. Okay. How does this translate into being the ultimate answer or ultimate question? It's lost on me.
Well, see, yeah, that's a tough one because, of course, you'd have to know an awful lot about the Tibetan history and Tibetan theology for it to make any sense, I guess. But they wrap a lot of significance around life and its meaning.
Yeah, okay. Well, here's one that's actual science.
I like science.
Light refracts through the surface of the water by 42 degrees to create a rainbow.
Oh, that's another beautiful answer.
Yeah, okay. How?
Oh, gosh. Don't even start me down that road.
Well, first, it's not a question.
No, you're right. It's not a question. So
it would be an interpretation of an answer.
Exactly. And that's all that we have to go on, of course, because we don't get the question. The question, as we understand it in the end, is mutually exclusive to the answer, so we can't know both.
So therefore, it's not in our list here.
Right. It has to be some kind of speculation. But I don't know. When you start talking about photons and the degrees of refraction, okay. Take me down a rabbit hole and just bear with me. Okay?
All right. Well, here's another one about light.
Love it.
Light requires 10 to the negative 42 power seconds to cross the diameter of a proton. Interesting?
See? Yes.
But meaningless in regards to life.
Yes. And isn't that funny? Because we were talking again about time, and we were talking about the fact that we could use atomic particles to create a sequence or series that could be used in a universal sense here. And here's a distance where light has traveled across a proton. So interesting facts, but again, it's an interpretation of the answer, not a reflection of the question.
And it gets us even farther from the question. If that's the answer.
That's true.
I also saw that somebody said that 42 is Adams's tribute to the indefatigable paperback book and the average number of lines on an average page of an average paperback.
Where the heck did that come from?
I don't know, but I grabbed a lot of my paperbacks and started counting lines, and I had to search long and hard to find one with 42 lines.
So that would
so
only
this
be
is
about
not a standard.
about half a page or something, right? I mean, it wouldn't even be...
No, I had a lot of paperbacks that were less than 42 lines.
Oh, really? Okay. I guess it all depends on font size, right?
It does. So 42 also refers to the number of laws in cricket, which is a reoccurring theme in his books.
There you go. Another interesting factoid.
Factoid, but does it apply at all to the meaning of life? Or the ultimate question of life?
If you could sit through a cricket game, you could probably get through life.
Yes, okay. There we go. So now we've got people playing with the alphabet.
Oh, the alphabet.
Because, Deep Thought and those pan-dimensional beings from the other whatever spoke English and used our alphabet as their basis for everything.
Oh,
but the computer was on Earth. But again, they had to pick English.
Right.
So anyway, it said that 42 is the alphanumerical sum of 2B. T is the 20th letter, O is the 15th, B is the 2nd, E is the 5th. Add those all up, you get 42. So the ultimate answer of life, the universe, and everything is to be.
Oh, gosh. And here I thought it was math. M is the 13th letter, A is the first letter, T is the 20th letter, and H is the 8th letter. You add it all up and it's 42.
So math is also 42. So is the secret to be? Or is it math? To be math.
To be math. That's the question and the answer.
All right. In a 3x3x3 magic cube, where the numbers 1 through 27 are all written at an intersection point, each column, row, and pillar adds up to 42. So if you ever arrange the numbers in a way that 3 lines in a row all add up, it adds up to 42. Again, another interesting factoid.
Yes.
Oh, and now we're going to get into something a little more spiritual. I don't know what to call that.
All right.
42 is an encoding of the number of the beast.
Okay.
And the number of the beast is
666.
So, if you use the 2 crosses, the crooked cross and the straight cross, you get 6 times 6 plus 6, which is 42. So, is the ultimate answer being the devil?
Or the devil is the question, and the answer is 42.
Yes. Yes.
Huh? Well, the devil is in the details. Oh, and you're
Right.
not going to slap me? Come on. Come on.
No, I'm going to ignore it.
It can't be ignored. It exists.
42 is also the sum of all of the values on 2 die,
Okay.
which could mean that life is just a series of chances. Or you could ask, what is total paradise? Or what is the total of a pair of dice?
Okay, now I can
42.
slap you.
Yeah. Hey, this isn't my idea.
Oh, yes, it is. You claimed it. Oh, my gosh.
That is a true pun.
Paradise. I do like that, though.
I found it interesting.
If there were a question about life, the universe, and everything, I don't know. Paradise sounds like a good place to start.
Yes. Well, I found this answer in reference to pi.
Okay.
Pi is an infinitely long number in the number of digits after the decimal point.
Correct.
And you can use it to calculate any circle or sphere.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as the number is, you only need 41 digits to calculate the circumference of the entire known universe.
Mm-hmm.
Life, the universe, and everything. To within a margin of error of 1 hydrogen atom.
Oh, my gosh.
Therefore, with 42 digits, you have calculated so precisely, there is no question of the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I have therefore memorized the first 42 digits of pi.
All right. Do you want me to test you on that?
No, I don't think I know anything more than 4 or 5. Because in practical terms, that's all you need.
Right. 42 is just that's all you need.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
my
basically
gosh.
it says that memorizing hundreds or thousands of digits is just bragging rights because anything past 42 is meaningless.
Oh gosh. Another beautiful answer. And the funny thing is when you're talking about pi, you can find so many things there. And the circular
Yes.
nature of life is just perfect. I mean, circle is perfect. So if you're going to go someplace and you're looking for an answer or looking for a question.
Right. In Japanese,
Oh, this is far afield.
4 is she,
Okay.
and 2, the word, not the number,
Mm-hmm.
is ni.
Mm-hmm.
Put those together for shini,
Okay.
the word for death.
Ah.
The answer to life is death.
Again, perfect circular logic.
Right.
You can't complain about the concept, except it's, again, pretty far afield for atoms. But isn't it interesting so far? I mean, we've literally gone through, a dozen different ways to interpret this one number. I really wonder if he had chosen something else, would there have been this many responses?
Probably not even close.
Mm-hmm.
So to go in a totally different direction,
Mm-hmm.
I found somebody whose opinion it was that the best temperature of water to have a shower with in degrees Celsius is 42, which is 107.6 degrees Fahrenheit.
Is that the water temperature of the average tub?
That is the water of the average captain's bath.
I just keep seeing Adam sitting in a tub reading all these responses, laughing hysterically. Because in my mind, the picture of the captain is the picture of Adam's.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
He's captaining this ship and he has no idea where the hell he's going.
Right, right. So T does feature very prominently in his books.
That's true.
And I did see somebody that put this out there.
Okay.
The little jingle thing.
Mm-hmm.
T for 2, 2 for T, 4 T2. I don't know what it means, but I found it funny.
Oh, I love it. I love that. You know, it's the kind of thing that makes you think.
And sometimes if you go on Reddit, you find things that you wish you didn't. So I found a post by somebody who went as far as saying that since the book uses numbers in the question, what do you get when you multiply 6 by 9?
Oh, no.
And 69 is a traditionally funny number, pornographically.
Now that sounds more like along the lines of Adams.
He decided that 42 could be described pornographically.
Okay.
So if you take the number 4 with a closed top,
Okay.
not the open 4.
Right.
So you've got the straight line, the angled line, and a crossed line.
Right.
Which could look like the legs and torso of a person with his hand on his hip with a little appendage sticking out one area. And the number 2 can represent somebody on their knees hunched over in front of them.
Seriously?
So don't think about that too much or draw it out because you're not going to be able to stop seeing it.
Oh, no. You had to take me there, didn't you, Jeff?
I didn't take you there. This random Redditor
Oh, my
took you
gosh.
there.
Oh, there's far too many people in the world that thinks that is the answer to life,
Right.
the universe, and everything.
Well, I don't know if it's the answer, but, you know, I'll give it a try.
Oh, God.
So then you come across something simple that explains why there is no satisfactory answer.
Okay.
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is a parable.
Mm-hmm.
The story's lesson has little or nothing to do with the meaning of life, the universe, and everything, or 42.
Mm-hmm.
The lesson is you can have the answer to everything handed to you, but that does not mean you will have the wisdom to understand the answer.
Ah. Confucius say.
Yes.
Another very nicely put line. Mm-hmm. I like that. That's another happy answer. Works for me.
Once we were pretty far in the recording and producing of all of our episodes, I looked for other episodes on The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy for podcasts.
Okay.
And I had done a search prior to starting this and finding very, very, very few. So
Okay.
there's not very many podcasts out there that dissect like we are.
Mm-hmm.
But I did find one that was very interesting called Beware of the Leopard. Notice it has a long title.
Uh-huh. A person that obviously thinks like you do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Beware of the Leopard is worth listening to if you haven't ever heard of it. Basically what they're doing is they're going through the glossary alphabetically, and they are having conversations about all of the terms in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
But it isn't really about that as much as it would be, like, say they're in the A's.
Right.
And they would say, oh, alcohol. So, John, do you drink alcohol? And then he tells a story about him getting drunk somewhere.
Got it.
So
Perfect.
it is really personal stories about them more than it is about the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But there's a lot about it in there. It entertained me. They did an episode about 42. And each of them were tasked with discovering what 42 means.
Okay.
The best one to me was an explanation that what Deep Thought was actually saying is that there is no single question. There are 42 questions. So like how many roads must a man walk down, it would be like how many questions must a man answer?
All right.
So he surmised what the questions would be, and he listed them on their website.
Oh my
So if
gosh.
you're interested in checking it out, their website is BTL, Beware the Leopard, btlpodcast.com/blog/42. That will get to all of his questions. He said, I didn't put a lot of thought in it. He just sat down and, it was a last minute, I got to get this done for the podcast, and he just banged out 42 questions. So you're not going to go there and find out anything profound, but I actually thought that tying in with the book, How Many Roads Must a Man Walk Down, and having it be 42 different questions, that was pretty good. So I did like that.
Yep. Yes, as you said in the very beginning, the Austrian was correct. This is an exercise in futility. We will never know the actual question because it's a fiction.
Right. After doing all of this research and seeing all of these different ideas and theories on what and how it was, my personal answer to the question, what is the secret to living and thriving in life, the universe, and everything, is to not overthink it. Now,
and how long did it take you to think that up?
Well, I cannot figure out how overthinking it and 42 can be brought together. So if I ever figure out how 42 means not to overthink it, then we'll do another episode.
Oh, man. Oh, that is so funny. Yes, life. Don't talk to me about life.
Yeah. So do you have any personal thoughts or theories on 42 and the answer in the question?
Well, the fact is that when we read books, and I think we've talked about this quite often in our dissection of the novel, and when we read books, we have to understand that the author is the ultimate decision maker to our understanding of his universe. And you know that we've had this discussion. Even he has said that all of the material that he's done exists individually and separately in their own universe.
Right.
That there is, as he said, no canon to his story. That each of the things can exist wholly and solely by themselves, but they all also work together in a cycle.
Right.
So when it comes to what the question actually is, we will clearly never know because he's told us that he's not going to tell us. and he's told us that if he did tell us, the entire cosmos would fold in upon itself and be reinvented.
Correct.
So that
some would say this has already happened.
Exactly. So in terms of what are we to truly believe, we have to take the author at his word. If he says 42 was a funny number and that's why he chose it, that's why he chose it. If it happens, and to be honest, I personally want to believe that he understood the nature of the computer, that his comment was 42 is an asterisk and it can mean anything you want it to be. That to me is a beautiful response to the question of life, the universe, and everything. It can be anything you want it to be. So I want that to be the answer, but I accept Adams's discussion and deliberate response to why he chose 42.
Yes. I feel that way too. They're knowing if all of a sudden we found a piece of writing of his that said, "Oh, by the way, here's the question," it would be a letdown.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody would feel better about it.
No, not at all.
No. So the whole not knowing is the beauty of all of this.
That is it. That is it.
So 42 is the answer. 42 came out of his pen for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what it is, but that's what I think that's what all of these answers that we're reading about why 42.
Right.
Cricket, Tibetan monks, base 13. Like, no, he doesn't write jokes in base 13, but he knows that 42. No, nobody knew 42. Nobody counts in base 13. Why would they? Well, Bryan, this was an immense amount of fun going through everything that we found about 42. Did you have fun?
Yeah, Jeff, I had a lot of fun.
Great. Well, I hope everybody out there enjoyed listening to us go back and forth about all of the things that we found about 42. But we've come to the end. I think it's time to say goodbye. So say goodbye, Bryan.
I will, Jeff, and I will ask all of our friends and all of our listeners out there to make sure that tonight they go to sleep with dreams of sugar plums and petunias through their head.
Okay. What the hell does that mean?
You got to think about it.
Thank you for listening to Digital Watches Are a Pretty Neat Idea. Look for us the first Thursday of every month for a full episode. We will also release a bonus episode later in the month. A very special thanks goes out to Luke, Max, Greg, and Tim Lesnick for arranging and performing our opening theme. We would also like to thank our talented friends and family for their voice work on our introductions and commercials. A special thank you to Lorraine Campbell for her portrayal of Sheila from Sheila's Ear and her special friend Elmer. Visit our website at digitalwatchesareaprettyneatidea.buzzsprout.com, where you can find links to all my Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy inspired t-shirt designs. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube as Digital Watches Are a Pretty Neat Idea, on Instagram as Watches Idea Podcast, and on Twitter at Watches Idea. If you'd like to contact us, our email is digitalwatchespodcast@gmail.com.
This has been a Foods for Thought production.